Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of General Charles A. Flynn, Commanding General, United States Army Pacific, and Command Sergeant Major Scott Burzak, welcome to the activation ceremony for the 3rd Multi-Domain Task Force. Ladies and gentlemen, we are delighted to have many distinguished guests with us today, including Consul General of Japan, Mr. Aoki, Consul General of the Philippines, Mr. Fernandez, Consul General of Australia, Ms. Gleason, the USARPAC Command Team, 8th TSC, and our joint service members, along with the community and business leaders here today, and as always, the soldiers and veterans that support our Army. Please stand for the invocation given by Chaplain Major Anthony Cutchins.
Would you bow with me as we pray? Abiding eternal God, creator and sustainer of all, we are thankful for this day and for the opportunity to gather together here today for the activation of the 3rd Multi-Domain Task Force. Lord, we ask your blessings on everyone gathered here today. As this unit grows to its full strength, I ask that you grant them strength, courage, and knowledge, and for the command teams to help them be the leaders this unit needs. We ask your continued blessings on each and every one gathered here as we depart this place later today. We ask your blessings on the United States Army and our great nation, and we come humbly asking this prayer. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The Multi-Domain Task Force is the centerpiece for Army transformational change and is the first of its kind as a unit designed from the ground up to maneuver to and maintain positions of relative advantage across multiple domains. With it, the Army will discover, learn, and codify the best practices, tactics, techniques, and procedures required to achieve operational and strategic effects in support of the joint force and our allied partners. In March 2017, General Mark A. Milley, 39th Chief of Staff of the Army, directed a U.S. Indo-PACOM-aligned anti-access area denial focused pilot program to inform the development of a multi-domain task force, MDTF. From the pilot's inception, the soldiers of the newly conceived Intelligence, Information Operations, Cyber, Electronic Warfare, Space, I2Q's Battalion led the way through iterative exercises and assessments that informed the design for a standing MDTF. Their groundwork enabled the MDTF to deploy and operate west of the international dateline even before its activation. The first MDTF was activated and is currently operational at Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington, and is aligned to the U.S. Army Pacific. The second MDTF was activated and is operational at Clay Kaserne Wiesbaden, Germany, and is aligned to U.S. Army Europe and Africa. The third MDTF is hereby activated today in support of U.S. Army Pacific operations. At this time, please direct your attention to the soldiers in formation. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of honors to the reviewing officer, General Charles A. Flynn, and remain standing for the national anthem and the Hawaiian state song. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The activation ceremony is a time-honored Army tradition. It serves two purposes. First, it allows the commander the opportunity to assess the readiness and discipline of the unit. And secondly, with the uncasing of the unit's colors, it marks a definitive point in time to commemorate the beginning of a unit's history and lineage by carrying on the finest tradition of the United States Army. In accordance with Permanent Order 182-12, effective 23 September 2022, Headquarters 3rd Multi-Domain Task Force, U.S. Army Pacific, Fort Shafter, Hawaii, is hereby activated with the formal assignment of the authority and responsibility of their command. The Assumption of Command ceremony is a simple traditional event that is rich with symbolism and heritage. The key to the Assumption of Command ceremony is the passing of the unit colors. These colors represent not only the heritage and the history of the unit, but also the unity and loyalty of its soldiers. The colors are the commander's symbol of authority, representing his responsibilities to the organization. Wherever the commander is, there also are the colors. The custodian of the colors is the Command Sergeant Major. As the senior enlisted soldier in the 3rd Multi-Domain Task Force, Command Sergeant Major Slater is both the spokesperson for the loyalty and concerns of the soldiers and the principal advisor to the commander. The passing of the colors symbolizes the transfer of authority to the incoming commander. By authority of Army Regulations 600-20, paragraph 2.5, the undersigned assumes command of the 3rd Multi-Domain Task Force, effective 23 September 2022, signed David J. Zinn, Colonel, Armor, Commanding. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention as Sergeant Maldonado and Sergeant Navarro present lays to Mrs. Melissa Zinn and their sons, Micah and Seth, and Mrs. Patricia Slater, on behalf of the soldiers assigned to the 3rd Multi-Domain Task Force. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commanding General of United States Army Pacific, General Charles A. Flynn.
Aloha to everyone in Ikomo Mine this morning. Thank you for being out here. A couple of thank yous before I get into the formal remarks here. I want to thank the 25th Band. I want to thank Protocol. I want to thank the setup team for actually pulling this together. It was a little short notice, but I'm just thankful that we have a great staff to be able to pull these kinds of events together, bring the community together, bring the units together, bring the leaders together, and showcase the recognition here. So I'd ask everybody for a round of applause for all the people that just pulled this thing together. I also, hello? Anybody there? Okay, great. Before the ceremony got started, my good friend Dave Bramlett, General Retired, said to me, I've never been to a unit activation out here. So, Dave, this is the first activation for a long-time friend and resident here in Hawaii. Actually, it brought back a memory of an inactivation that you gave me a little criticism for in my 25th day. So I'm making up for it here this morning by bringing the multi-domain task force to Hawaii. And then before I'll talk about, so I'm going to keep yelling, okay? I'll talk, I could probably talk a little bit about the capabilities that exist inside this formation with these soldiers. But for those that are not paying attention, they're the narrator Captain Hodge back here. She is a cyber officer, Ranger qualified. So, you know, that's the kind of special skills and backgrounds that are in this formation here and the ones that are coming. All right, so I'll just yell. How's that, okay? Because it's coming in a little broken. But she represents just a wide range of skill sets and experience that reside in this formation, and this is but, you know, the early stages of this. So really, let me just continue on here and just thank everybody for attending both in person and virtually. I especially want to welcome community leaders, Gold Star family members. I want to recognize the Purple Heart Association from Hawaii. Thank you guys for being out here. I love seeing you all at these events every year, and I'm thankful that we're through the COVID period so that we can get back together and see you all again many, many more times. General and Nora Bramlett, thanks for being here this morning. To the Consul Generals, Mr. Aoki, Mr. Fernandez, Mrs. Gleason, Mrs. Wagner, Mr. Mayho, and Dr. Patterson, thank you all for being present here today and shining really us with your presence. Most importantly, I want to welcome the leaders and the soldiers of the Army's newest unit, the 3rd Multi-Domain Task Force. Today, we witness the activation and the unveiling of a set of colors of an organization that will be essential and integral to the Army and the Joint Force in the Indo-Pacific. While they may not have a distinguished and storied history yet, this unit is quite special and unique. This region of the world, the Indo-Pacific theater, is the most important region for the future of the United States. It is where the geostrategic weight of the world rests for this century. This fact is widely accepted by the Department of Defense, as it has named this theater its priority. With that in mind, in 2019, the Army established the 1st Multi-Domain Task Force at Joint Base Lewis-McChord in Washington State and aligned it to the Pacific. The Multi-Domain Task Force is a perfect example of how the Army creates warfighting advantages for the Joint Force. The concept of an MDTF began as a vision, a simple idea. Through years of repeated wargaming, experimentation, and now exercising and training, a real, tangible formation is producing a distinct warfighting advantage for the Joint Force. In the 3 years since its activation at Joint Base Lewis-McChord, the 1st MDTF has been an integral part of how the Theater Army integrates intelligence, cyber, information, electronic warfare, space capabilities, and long-range precision fires to see, sense, and understand, to protect, to command and control, and enable the Joint Force. 1st Multi-Domain Task Force has constantly rotated through training exercises in Japan, the Philippines, Australia, South Korea, Alaska, Hawaii, just to name a few. And at each opportunity, they integrate with the entire Joint Force to conduct multi-domain operations and create new dilemmas for potential adversaries. Our MDTFs are essential to building joint readiness, strengthening interoperability with allies and partners, and denying adversaries key terrain. What is unique about the MDTF is how inherently joint it is. The MDTF serves a crucial role in the collection, processing, and dissemination of joint targeting data and is equipped with the tools to deliver the right effects at the right speed. The result is a formation that closes kill webs faster and provides a robust array of options to the Joint Force Commander to counter adversaries in both competition and crisis while campaigning forward. That is what the 1st MDTF has proven they are capable of doing in this theater and have been doing that for the last few years.
as the signature formation of the ongoing Army transformation, the MDTF demonstrates real warfighting advantages. In doing so, they led the Army to create a second multi-domain task force in Europe, now being employed. And now today, we activate the third MDTF here in Hawaii, making 2 assigned to the Pacific. Third MDTF's charge will not be to only replicate the successes of first MDTF, but to build upon it, grow our capability and its capacities, and to provide more options to the Joint Force and do it with speed and a sense of urgency. As special as these formations are, the Army just doesn't assign anyone to lead them. And the Army has chosen well in selecting Colonel Dave Zinn to command the 3rd MDTF. Dave, you have a deep history in this region. When I was the commander of the 25th Infantry Division at Schofield, Dave commanded 3-Quarter Cav. Dave has also spent a few years in Korea. Your experience in this theater will serve you well during your tenure in command. As the signature formation for the Army's transformation, the MDTF requires an inquisitive and forward-leaning individual at the helm, and we have that with you, Dave. You have the right background and the right experience to assume this critical and crucial position for the Army and the Joint Force. And I'll just quickly say how, in our military profession, I believe that there is no greater privilege than to command, because the title of commander demands a lot, and that will be required of you, Dave. With that in mind, I'd like to welcome your wife, Melissa, your sons, Micah and Seth, to the USARPAC Ohana. I'd also like to welcome virtually your daughter, Erin, and son, Jamie, who are both away at Baylor University. I'd also like to extend a welcome to Command Sergeant Major Slater and his wife, Patricia, to the USARPAC Ohana. Ladies and gentlemen, the next few years for you both will be challenging and for your families, but they will also be uniquely rewarding for you and the Army. You're building an absolutely incredible team here, one with special skills and a vital mission in this important region. So welcome to the Theater Army in the Indo-Pacific. I hope you're ready for the challenge, because we certainly have a lot of work ahead of you. In closing, I want to thank all of you again for being here in person or listening in, and for joining us on this special occasion. The dedication you all make to serve and support our nation, our citizens, our values, and the Army, along with this important relationship that exists between the Hawaiian community and the Army, is not lost on me. I appreciate all that you do and what you represent and what you stand for. Mahalo to all of you. May you have a nice weekend. God bless the Multi-Domain Task Force. God bless the Army. God bless the United States of America. One team. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, the commander of the 3rd Multi-Domain Task Force, Colonel David J. Zinn.
Aloha and good morning. I am humbled by the many distinguished attendees at this morning's ceremony, and I would like to take a few minutes to recognize several, even if it is repetitive. General and Mrs. Flynn, sir, thank you for the kind remarks, and thank you both for the very warm welcome for my family. General and Mrs. Bramlett, sir, you're actually the Commandant of Cadets at West Point when I was a cadet. We all know the Commandant. I think you probably remember the very good cadets and the very bad cadets, so you probably don't remember me. Sir, thank you for being here. To the U.S. Army Pacific senior leaders, Lieutenant General Gerard, Major General Smith, Major General Helwig, and Mr. Dietrich, thank you for being here. I am also honored by the presence of 3 distinguished guests, Mr. Aoki, Consul General of Japan, Mr. Fernandez, Consul General of the Philippines, and Ms. Gleason, Consul General of Australia. Thank you for being here. Mr. Maho from Congressman Kahaley's office, thank you for your presence this morning. And Dr. Patterson from Native Hawaiian Advisory Council, thank you for being here. Fellow commanders and command sergeants major, distinguished guests, family, friends, thank you all for recognizing this ceremony marking the activation of the 3rd Multi-Domain Task Force. Ladies and gentlemen, standing here on this parade field on historic Palm Circle is a collection of talented soldiers that represent our newly formed team. MDTF soldiers have skills that span diverse functions: intelligence, space, cyber, EW, fires, sustainment, and more, all working together to synchronize kinetic capabilities and non-kinetic capabilities to deliver long-range precision effects against our nation's adversaries. To the soldiers on the field, you look great. Thank you for your dedicated and continued service to our nation. I hope you agree there is no better place to serve than right here in Hawaii in U.S. Army Pacific. Activation of the Army's 3rd Multi-Domain Task Force is the result of the dedicated efforts of Army senior leaders, the Army staff, U.S. Army Pacific senior leaders, and here in Hawaii, many others have done the heavy lifting to establish our foundation and help us to grow quickly. So I would like to extend my deepest appreciation to the 25th Infantry Division leadership, the 8th Theater Sustainment Command, U.S. Army Garrison Hawaii, Installation Management Command Pacific, and the U.S. Army Pacific staff. I would also like to specifically recognize the USARPAC Headquarters Battalion and the Theater Fires Element, who were instrumental in our stand-up and provided sponsorship and reception for our soldiers and families as they began to arrive. Simply world-class support. We are privileged, of course, to have the 25th Infantry Division band with us this morning. Thank you for making this ceremony special. And anyone who has been part of a ceremony like this knows there's a collection of behind-the-scenes enablers who are critical to the event. For today, that includes the USARPAC protocol team, the G3 shop, a group of soldiers from the USARPAC headquarters, and from this task force, and probably many others who I am not even aware of, but I thank each of you. To my lovely wife and children, the strength and resiliency of Team Zinn, thank you for supporting me on this adventure in the Army. Thank you for supporting me as I follow my passion of serving soldiers and families. My 2 sons are probably happy to miss school this morning, so you're welcome. I love you. To stand in front of this formation of American soldiers and lead them is a privilege granted by the American people. As soldiers, we are all entrusted with the defense of this nation. As leaders, we are entrusted with caring for those who defend it. I am both humbled and honored to have the opportunity to lead this unit and serve alongside our teammates. The 3rd Multi-Domain Task Force is the signature formation in the ongoing transformation of the U.S. Army. Our activation in Hawaii reflects the Army's commitment to this theater as our nation's priority. We bring increased capacity and complementary capability to the Joint Force in the Pacific. Our formation will provide capability to synchronize long-range precision effects with long-range precision fires, providing increased freedom of action for the Joint Force. I am thankful to be part of this talented formation at its inception. I look forward to working together to build a proud, cohesive team that's highly trained, disciplined, fit, and prepared to conduct operations in the Pacific. As a newly activated unit, our list of tasks is long, and it is time for us to get to work. So let me finish by thanking you all for recognizing this special event. The 3rd Multi-Domain Task Force looks forward to working with each one of you. One team, Army strong.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Army song. The words can be found in your program. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's activation ceremony. On behalf of the 3rd Multi-Domain Task Force, thank you for your attendance. Please join the command team for a reception located